Before you spend another penny, there's something you need to see. Millions of Lincoln Memorial cents pass through cash registers, coin jars, and old family collections every single day. Most people never give them a second look. They're tossed into drawers, dropped into tip jars, and forgotten for years. But here's what makes this countdown different. Hidden among ordinary-looking cents are a handful of dates that collectors continue searching for. Some have quietly climbed in demand. Some have appeared in impressive auctions, and some are becoming much harder to find with attractive original surfaces still intact. And the shocking part? Many of these coins don't look special at first glance. No bright warning sign, no obvious clue, just a simple Lincoln cent that most people would spend without hesitation. In today's countdown, we're revealing 4 Lincoln Memorial cents that continue to attract serious attention from collectors across America. As we move higher in the countdown, the stories become more surprising, the collector interest becomes stronger, and the market activity becomes even more fascinating. So before you ignore that old penny sitting in your collection, stay with me until the end, because one small detail could completely change how you look at Lincoln cents forever. And the very first coin on our list starts with a date that many collectors overlook, until they discover why examples with strong eye appeal are becoming increasingly difficult to replace. What happened with this coin surprised even experienced collectors. Let's take a closer look. First up, a lot of collectors focus on older pennies and completely overlook the coins that circulated through America during the 1990 cess. That's exactly why the 1994 Lincoln Memorial cent continues to surprise people today. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary cent that could still be hiding in a jar of spare change. But experienced collectors know that condition, originality, and collector demand can transform an everyday-looking coin into something much more interesting. Back in 1994, America was in the middle of a decade filled with economic growth, technological change, and a rapidly evolving culture. The U.S. Mint continued producing Lincoln Memorial cents to meet the nation's everyday commerce needs, and millions of Americans handled these coins without giving them a second thought. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, a design that has become one of the most recognized images in American coinage. Around the portrait, you'll find the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1994. Since this example was struck without a mint mark, it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, a facility that has played a major role in American coin production for generations. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse. The inscriptions include United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 cent. For decades, this reverse represented one of the most iconic designs in circulation and became a familiar sight in pockets, purses, and cash registers across the country. Like other Lincoln cents of its era, the coin is composed primarily of copper-plated zinc. It weighs approximately 2.5 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters, and features a smooth, plain edge. What makes collectors pay attention isn't a special error or unusual variety. It's the challenge of finding attractive surviving examples that still retain original surfaces. Many 1994 cents entered circulation immediately and spent years changing hands. As a result, high-quality pieces with strong eye appeal become increasingly desirable among collectors. When specialists inspect a coin, like this, they usually look at the surfaces first. They check for original color, signs of wear, marks, environmental damage, and overall eye appeal. Even small differences in preservation can have a major impact on collector interest. That's also why cleaning is one of the biggest mistakes a person can make. Never clean this coin. Cleaning can permanently alter the surfaces and reduce the qualities collectors value most. Original surfaces matter, and preserving them is often the smartest decision. Demand remains strong among collectors searching for well-preserved Lincoln Memorial scents, and certain specimens have sold for impressive prices when condition and originality align. Auction activity continues to demonstrate how much attention quality examples can receive. With a collector market value reported around $160,000 for the right specimen, this is definitely not a coin you want to spend without taking a closer look. Professional grading may be worthwhile if you believe you have an exceptional example. And if you think this coin is surprising, the next one in our countdown proves that sometimes a seemingly ordinary date can create an even bigger conversation among collectors. Next up, sometimes the coins that look the worst are the ones that make collectors stop and take a second look. A dirty, heavily circulated scent is easy to dismiss, and that's exactly why so many people miss the significance of coins like this 1981D Lincoln Memorial scent. After seeing the attention generated by our previous coin, it's worth remembering that not every collectible example shines with bright color or perfect surfaces. Some have spent decades in circulation, carrying a story that can still attract collector interest today. The year 1981 was an important period in American history. The country was adjusting to economic changes. Inflation concerns were still fresh in people's minds, and everyday transactions relied heavily on coins like the Lincoln cent. Millions of these pennies moved through stores, gas stations, vending machines, and family cash jars, serving the simple purpose they were created for: facilitating daily commerce across the nation. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Surrounding the design are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1981. Just below the date sits the D Mint mark, identifying this coin as a product of the Denver Mint. For collectors, mint marks help tell the story of where a coin began its journey before entering circulation. The reverse displays the iconic Lincoln Memorial. Above the building appears United States of America, below it is 1 cent, and across the upper portion is E Pluribus Unum. For generations of Americans, this design became one of the most recognizable images found in everyday pocket change. This Lincoln cent was struck from copper-plated zinc, the composition used during this era of production. It weighs approximately 2.5 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters, and features a smooth, plain edge. What makes collectors continue searching for examples like this isn't an error or unusual variety. Instead, it's the combination of date, mint mark, preservation, collector demand, and the challenge of locating pieces that still retain desirable characteristics after decades of circulation. When examining a 1981D cent, experienced collectors often focus first on surface quality, remaining detail, color, and signs of damage. Even a circulated example can tell an important story, but condition remains one of the biggest factors influencing collector interest. Here's where many people make a costly mistake. They see a dirty coin and immediately want to polish it. Never clean this coin. Original surfaces matter. Even when a coin appears dark or unattractive, cleaning can permanently damage the surface and remove the qualities collectors value most. Auction activity over the years has shown that collector demand remains strong for desirable Lincoln Memorial scents. Attractive surviving examples become harder to find as time passes, and certain specimens have sold for impressive prices when preservation and eye appeal come together. With a reported collector market value of $180,000 for the right example, this is certainly not a coin you want to spend without taking a closer look. Professional grading may be worthwhile if you believe your coin deserves further evaluation. And if you think a well-traveled Denver cent is surprising, the next coin in this countdown takes the story in a direction that few collectors expect at first glance. Next up, imagine opening an old family coin jar that hasn't been touched in decades. Most people would expect to find nothing more than spare change. But collectors know that sometimes the most ordinary-looking cents are the ones worth slowing down for, and the 1980 Lincoln Memorial cent is a perfect example. As our countdown continues, we're getting closer to the coins that keep dedicated collectors searching through rolls, collections, and forgotten containers of pocket change. Many people unknowingly spend coins like this every day, never realizing that collector demand can turn a common-looking cent into a fascinating piece of numismatic history. The year 1980 was a significant moment in America. The nation was experiencing economic challenges. Inflation remained a major topic of conversation, and Americans relied heavily on cash transactions for everyday purchases. Lincoln cents were produced in enormous numbers because they played an essential role in commerce, moving through countless hands from coast to coast. On the front of the coin is the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has represented American coinage for generations. Surrounding Lincoln are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1980. This example was struck without a mint mark, meaning it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. For collectors, the absence of a mint mark on coins from this period immediately identifies its place of origin and becomes part of its story. The reverse features the iconic Lincoln Memorial design. The inscriptions include United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 cent. For years, Americans carried this design in their pockets without a second thought. Yet today, it remains one of the most recognizable reverses in U.S. coin history. Like other Lincoln Memorial cents from the era, this coin is composed primarily of copper-plated zinc. It weighs approximately 2.5 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters, and features a plain, smooth edge. Collectors continue searching for examples like this because attractive original pieces become more difficult to locate over time. While millions were produced, far fewer survive with the eye appeal, originality, and preservation that serious collectors prefer. When evaluating a 1980 Lincoln cent, experienced collectors often inspect the surfaces first. They look for remaining luster, natural color, wear patterns, marks, and overall eye appeal. Condition matters because even small differences in preservation can dramatically affect collector interest. One mistake you should never make is cleaning a coin like this. Never clean it. Original surfaces matter. A cleaned coin often loses the very characteristics that collectors want to see. Even if a coin appears dull, preserving it exactly as found is usually the better choice. Auction activity has shown that demand remains strong among collectors for desirable Lincoln Memorial cents. Certain specimens have sold for impressive prices, especially when originality and preservation come together. That's why survival rarity isn't always about low production numbers. It's often about how many attractive examples remain today. With a reported collector market value of $185,000 for the right specimen, this is definitely a coin worth examining carefully before spending. Do not spend this coin if you believe you may have a noteworthy example. Professional grading may be worthwhile for coins that appear especially well preserved. And now we're approaching the final coin in this countdown, and what comes next may be the most surprising Lincoln Memorial cent of them all. The last one. The turn of the millennium created a feeling that America was stepping into a completely new era. People were talking about the future. Technology was advancing rapidly, and families everywhere were preparing for the year 2000. Yet while all of that was happening, a simple Lincoln memorial cent quietly entered circulation and began a journey that few people would ever pay attention to. And that's what makes this final coin so fascinating. Most people remember the excitement surrounding the year 2000, but very few remember the pennies they carried during that historic period. Many of those coins disappeared into piggy banks, coin jars, dresser drawers, and forgotten collections. Today, collectors continue searching for examples that survived with attractive, original surfaces and strong eye appeal. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, one of the most recognizable figures ever placed on an American coin. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2000. This particular coin was struck without a mint mark, identifying it as a Philadelphia Mint issue. For collectors, mint marks, or the absence of one, help establish where a coin was produced and become an important part of its story. Turn the coin over, and you'll find the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design. The inscriptions include United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 cent. For decades, Americans saw this reverse every day without realizing that future collectors would carefully study the same details. Like other Lincoln Memorial cents from this era, the coin is composed of copper-plated zinc. It weighs approximately 2.5 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters, and features a plain edge. What keeps collector interest alive isn't a rare error or unusual variety. It's the ongoing demand for well-preserved examples. Millions were produced for circulation, but attractive original coins become harder to find as years pass and more pieces suffer damage, wear, discoloration, or cleaning. When experienced collectors evaluate a coin like this, they often begin by examining the surfaces. They look for originality, color, wear patterns, contact marks, and overall eye appeal. Condition remains one of the most important factors affecting desirability. That's why one warning deserves repeating. Never clean this coin. Cleaning can permanently alter the surfaces and remove the natural characteristics collectors want to see. Original surfaces matter. Even if a coin appears dark or dull, preserving it exactly as found is usually the better choice. Auction activity has shown that collector demand remains strong for desirable Lincoln Memorial cents. Certain specimens have sold for impressive prices, and attractive surviving examples continue attracting attention from collectors who appreciate quality and originality. With a reported collector market value of $140,000 for the right specimen, this is certainly not a coin you want to spend without taking a closer look. Do not spend this coin if you believe you may have an exceptional example. Professional grading may be worthwhile for pieces that appear especially well preserved. And that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. The next great discovery isn't always hidden in a museum or locked inside a vault. Sometimes it's sitting in a forgotten jar, tucked inside an old collection, or waiting quietly in a drawer somewhere in America. Before you spend another Lincoln cent, take a closer look. Check your coin jars, check your collections, and check those old family albums that haven't been opened in years. If you enjoyed this countdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Coin Empire USA, and share this video with fellow collectors who love the thrill of the hunt. Because the coin you overlook today could be the one everyone wishes they had saved tomorrow. Comment Rare Coins Hunter if you're still watching. I want to know who the real treasure hunters are.